Hey Elias, how are you? Welcome.
Hey, Ethan, really good. And you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for your time. Elias, you've been in the industry for so many years and I've been looking into your career. It's really, really impressive. So really appreciate the time. So from your perspective, I know you've been doing a lot, which we'll cover during this episode. What is your overall observance or what do you see in the overall e-commerce market in 2024?
You know, I think it's going to be a very interesting year where things are merging between the uh, like brick and mortar and the digital channels. So, you see everybody's talking about omni-channel, but
Yeah.
the question is, how is it going to unfold? I've been seeing some trends saying, hey, all transactions are going to become digital at one point, and the store side, the brick and mortar side, is going to be a delivery and some additional experience, but not the transaction point. So I'm seeing that, but also I think COVID brought a lot of acceleration into the adoption of e-commerce, and now we are getting a little bit of reshifting. Stores are taking again a big part of importance in the whole ecosystem. And I remember back in 2020, we were all talking about, okay, this, everything is going to become digital. People are going to receive things at home. Stores, I don't know if they have a lot of plays. There will be new competition that might be just digital channels. And now you see a lot of retailers investing in both. So I think that is a critical component that I see this year happening, is that reshift, and where are we going to land. And I've been seeing, like, for example, Walmart doing really good, a really good job. At the beginning I thought, I don't know if they are going to be able to become a successful technology company and compete with Amazon. And now I'm seeing, okay, they are definitely upping their game,
Yes.
and that brings the shift of the digital and the physical. Right now, Amazon needs to find a way to absorb that physical space to be competitive with Walmart on the long run. Of course,
Yeah,
Amazon is the king right now in the US.
sure. I mean, Amazon will continue to grow, obviously, retail media, and they have many opportunities, but a lot of new companies are trying to fight them. TikTok, Temu, obviously Walmart growing quite nicely. Obviously, this is also part of your strategy. I mean, what is your plan specifically for APNG? And maybe you can share some information about what you're doing these days.
Yeah, so APNG Catchmaster is the leader in the United States of glue-based non-toxic pest control. So we manufacture glue traps of any kind, and also non-toxic products
Hmm.
for it's a really good, I think, category to be in. I personally, I like it a lot. I think we're driving a lot of good things for the world, helping people control pests in a way that don't put their pets or kids at risk. Alternatives, have poison or have mechanical features that can, really hurt somebody. So I really like what we are doing here. um, I Our strategy is, right now we're growing really fast, high double digit, getting close to the triple digit growth.
Wow.
In our case, uh, we are a family business, a smaller business. We have presence in many retailers, but we're competing with big guys, and the big guys have presence in every single retailer.
Hmm.
And in our particular case, e-commerce has been perfect because a lot of the demand that is shifting from the stores to digital, we are catching it, right? We are giving an excellent offering to our consumers, and consumers are switching from the in-store brand to our brand. We have presence in Walmart, but a lot of the other smaller retailers, we are not there, and we are catching a lot of those sales. So our Amazon business is thriving. We are doing a lot of branding, especially in our category. the way that I describe it is, we are the Kleenex of our category. The issue is our consumers don't know it yet, and we need to make
Okay.
sure that we pass this message to the consumers. They need they if you buy a Catchmaster product, you will get our quality, our special formulas that have been designed for 65 years to maximize your catch and make sure that you are able to solve your issue at home, or for bigger consumers at their ranches, or for professionals in their business. Now, our strategy also is we are going through all 3P marketplaces. So because we have the top sellers in Amazon, right? We are in the top sellers. We have many products in the top 10 and many products in the top 20, the top sellers of all pest control in
Hmm.
Amazon. So now our strategy is we are trying to bring our products into every single other marketplace, Walmart, Lowe's, Home Depot, to
Hmm.
show the buyers that our products are key drivers of growth, right? So that is our, now for a brand like us, it's an excellent opportunity to, instead of going and pitching to the buyers, that's still something we're doing, and we are showcasing and demonstrating our products, explaining why we are the best. Now, the other thing we're doing is we're putting our products in their marketplaces. We're showing that our products can become number one sellers, and then make it reduce the risk of the buyer of adopting a product like us, and make it a very um, a very numerical decision. Bringing our products in. It's not more a bet, and believing in the product is, hey, look at our sales compared to our competition online, and now take those numbers and apply it to your store, and this is what you're leaving in the table.
Yes. Yeah. So I mean, there are a lot of interesting topics to discuss around here. First of all, the unique, I would say, growth trajectory that you're trying to achieve during this era, right? Where most of the brands are fighting or struggling to maintain a profitable growth. So, what do you think is driving this growth right now for you guys?
So we have been working on, I joined the company one year and 4 months ago, and when I joined, I explained that content is king,
Hmm.
and we have been working a lot on upping our game in our content. So if you go to our Amazon store, or if you go to our new Catchmaster.com website, you're gonna see a lot of content describing our products, making sure that consumers understand how to utilize our products, how we bring value to them. But also, the key thing here is, because these type of companies are very science based. They struggle a little bit to communicate to customers and consumers in a way that is simple. Okay, so
Hmm.
what the way that we are trying to bring this to consumers is, our consumers are not trying to learn a lot about pest. Okay, they are trying to learn the minimum amount to solve their problem, and we need to give them the information in the most concise way and easy to understand, so we can maximize. We try to make our consumers catch masters in the shortest amount of time. So a lot of our content is refreshed, especially visual imagery. Right now it's like it is really high level. And then the other thing we're trying to bring to our consumers is, they need to understand. We want them to understand the power of our formulas. When I joined the company, people were saying, "Hey, our products are the best products in the industry, but they need to be demonstrated. You need to bring the trap. You need to show people the viscosity, the strength, etc." So now I'm trying to capture all these elements of our Catchmaster formula, our Catchmaster glue, and bring in into explain them and make the consumers feel it through digital channels, right? So you're talking like we are talking about, like, visual examples of the strength of our products. So we are putting our products to the test, carrying dumbbells, carrying heavy objects, also showcasing and having shots of our product, the viscosity, showing how it really how it looks when you are on getting on something on stock to the products. And now we're going the next level, that is like, how do we make people even the sound of our glue, right? Like, we are trying to bring all these elements to our consumers because we are completely convinced that we are the best in the industry. And now it just needs to be in a couple seconds. Consumer needs to understand that if they buy a Catchmaster product, they buy our
Yes.
guarantee.
Yes. And the best way you find to do that is through creation of content, obviously, and that provide probably brand positioning and education. You're primarily doing it through written content, videos. What type
So
of
we're
content you're
working
creating?
on all angles.
Oh, yeah.
We depending on the brand, we have, for example, a brand called Vector by
Hmm.
Catchmaster that is glue. It's light traps that are glue based, so light traps that are not sapping. And the reason is, like, these traps are the most safe for kitchens, places where people are preparing food, or they need to be sanitary. When you have a bug that goes into a light trap that saps, the bug explodes, and
Wow.
all those pieces of the bug go into the environment, right? So if
Okay.
you're trying to prepare food, that's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
So in that particular case, we are doing the whole rebranding. We're creating brand stories, we are doing brand positioning work, we are creating now brand books, logos, style guides, etc. And what's happening is that that's taking us, accelerating a lot the speed that we can implement, because we're being super disciplined on creating all these groundwork for all our brands. Now we are working with agencies and creating content on all those types. So for
Yeah.
Vector specifically, video content is very important for usage, right? And
Hmm.
highlighting the features of the product.
Hmm.
So we're creating instructional videos that will explain to our consumers do's and don'ts, how to place traps, tips of placing in. For the glue-based products, we have videos that more inspire, like more showcasing the power of our brand, and then visual content that explains in detail how to use our product. So if you go through our 6 images, you have a pretty good idea how to place our
Yeah.
products.
Yeah.
And then all the written content is designed to really, maximizing SEO, but also for consumers that want to know a little bit more, explaining how to use the products. And the way that we see this is, we are obsessed with our consumers. Okay, so what we are trying to do is, we're trying to say, we know you don't want to know a lot, so we give it to you in levels. We give you the first part. Is this enough? Do you feel it's enough for you to catch your pest? Yes. Okay, move on.
Hmm.
Right? No. Here's a little bit more content. Do you want to? Do you feel it's enough? No. Here's a little bit more content. Instead
Yeah.
of just having like a whole content placement and say, "Hey, here's everything," figure it out. We're trying to limit it because we know consumers have no time. They have a lot of other things to do in their life, a lot of other decisions to make, and they don't want to become experts in pest control. They just want to solve their issue as soon as
Yes.
possible and in a cost-effective manner.
Yes. I mean, there are a few strategies that I see that are implemented in terms of how do you gather that information and how do you make decision regarding customer journeys, right? So one strategy is, hey, we get feedbacks from customers and we quickly adapt, right? We change UI UX and we make it like that. But once you get all that knowledge, and this is what I see from all of the mature brands, they come up with the plan. They come up with that strategy of how customer journey should look like and how do you funnel consumers across these type of customer journeys. So how do you do that? I mean, how do you know what customers are looking for? How do you analyze what's the best customer journeys? How do you analyze this type of data?
Yeah. So in this particular company, in APNG specifically, when
Hmm.
I joined, we didn't have a lot of consumer data.
Data.
Okay, so the strategy was, okay, there is a level where we intuitively can elevate our brand and our content and our channel. So we need to follow our intuition and then do a lot of A/B testing. So there's pieces of content that I wouldn't like to necessarily disclose, but in Amazon we are doing a lot of A/B testing on small changes on the visuals of our traps, how are they being
Hmm.
displayed, etc. And we started with a lot of A/B testing because we have massive traffic. we were testing consistently. Different messaging, different visuals, and from there we were documenting all the things that were being successful. Personally, I really like this approach because what I've seen when I've worked in larger companies is you start with so much data and you start making these stories, okay, that you start making these stories and these funnels. And one of the issues that I'm seeing is like, how much of this story are you retrofitting, to your ideas to tell a story? And how much is real? Like how much of these things that you are putting in place is real life? Or is you just trying to, be useful in your work and, trying to bring a new approach, a new angle to the equation, right? So
Yeah.
that is something that always when I'm in a company, I'm trying to say, hey, am I just trying to tell a story to myself so I can tell it to my boss, or I'm being real and I'm trying to focus on the consumer?
Yeah.
And I've noticed a lot of times, in general, employees, executives are just building this story to themselves and to the internal part of the organization, and much less consumer
Agree.
focus, right?
100%. Yes.
So I think A/B testing was critical to start the journey. Then a lot of the base knowledge that we could get from ourselves, and then launching an e-commerce website as soon as possible, right? Because that opened channel of communication. My goal was we need to open as many channels of communication. I want to understand the consumer. I want to see them work, interact with our website, right? So we have we launched our website immediately as soon as we could. And then we started, using different tools to track like the funnel on the consumers, what are the consumers clicking on, and then always documenting those learnings into our, documenting those learnings, making sure that we are not just learning and then forgetting about it and making changes. So all of this gets documented, and opening channels of communication. So now we have a chat where I have customer representatives talking to consumers. And then always I have that chat open all the time because I'm trying to understand every time a customer complains, I'm trying to understand what's happening. Is it our fault? If it's our fault, how can we make it right? Like this is like, I'm trying to make it as tactical for me to see this, right? To also change my patterns of behavior of when I'm doing things in the company, the things that I'm prioritizing strategically. But that's where we are right now. The next level is going to start doing consumer surveys, and eventually getting more sophisticated in terms of pricing, conjoint analysis, etc. But we have so much information right now, and we're driving so much growth that I feel satisfied with our approach.
Yes. I mean, what I see also that analyzing data is one thing, but having a culture that quickly adapt and being agile to implement changes, like cross-company changes sometimes, to support those changes is also, it's a different thing. So really nice. It's really nice to see that you are quickly implementing, getting information, analyzing them, having this agility in place, and quickly adapting to support new requirements. And we can add another layer of complexity on top of everything that we've discussed, is the complexity of you have a B2B strategy and you have a B2C direct-to-consumer strategy, right? And then obviously you have multi-channel with Amazon, and probably you're considering TikTok and many other channels. So how the B2B versus D2C strategy is coming into implementation on your day-to-day decision-making process, and when you analyze demand or customer requirements, do you analyze it from the B2B side of things, from the B2C direct-to-consumer side of things? How do you make those type of decision, and how it's impacting your day-to-day decision makings?
So I think it is very, very, in our case, our company was born as a B2B company. Okay. So we are the products that professionals use in their business. Okay. So the B2B and the professionals will always be at the heart of our company. Now, the beauty of this is that just in terms of messaging, okay, for our consumers, for our professionals, the key message is our glue is the best. Okay, we are We have special formulas that do get the job done. They have been fine-tuned for over 65 years. We have worked with our professionals, so we have open relationship because of the size of the company. Professionals, when they have an issue with our product or with a specific problem that they have out there, they call our company and we give them feedback and we work with them, right? So we have a
Mm-hmm.
highly trained professional team that can give feedback not just about the use of our products, but in general. So the power of our glue is something that we mentioned to our consumers and our professionals.
Mm-hmm.
For professionals, it's also important that we are manufacturing. And the reason is right now there's a lot of companies that are starting to basically just getting products from China, bringing them to
Yeah.
US and doing a lot of marketing. Okay. And manufacturing is a critical component for us because we want to preserve the quality. We also want to make sure that the products are safe for families, that the formulas don't have anything toxic, etc.
Sure.
And finally is the personal relationship. So those are our three uniques on the professional side.
Mm-hmm.
Now on our consumer side, the beauty of this is one of, as I mentioned already, the glue is our key component. But then the second one is professionals use our products. That's the key message for our consumers, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's already a bridge between the B2B and the consumer side, is that our products, we are one of the few companies that gives the professional products or versions of the professional
Yes.
products and the professional formulas to the consumer.
For the
So when
consumer,
we are,
yeah. I mean, it's
please,
vetted by professionals, right? So that's
exactly.
very strong statement, right?
Exactly. And we see a lot of companies that are using a lot of marketing that might not be like completely. It's a little bit of buzzword. So a lot of companies are using professional grade or heavy duty, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the reality is that not anybody, like very few of them can say that actually these are the products that professionals use.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that is already the blend of our channels. In terms of B2B, the priority is always is in my estimation, the B2B opportunity serving our professionals or distributors is the biggest opportunity of all, but also it's the most complex
Mm-hmm.
because it requires a lot of us understanding the processes, understanding what they are looking for, understanding like the details, because in this particular case, you really need to deliver a lot of information to professionals. They are looking for cost, how the return on investment of their products, how to use, and much more detail, right? So creating that content, that is already a process that we are starting to take it from good to great. It's going to be a big opportunity, but a big challenge. So we're working on that. On the consumer side, it was more simple, like faster opportunity to reach, a lower hanging fruit, because we have all this content that is ready for professionals. We just need to fine tune it, bring it to a level of the level of understanding that a consumer wants to have, and we can provide this. So the opportunity there was faster to achieve and more simple. Uh, and then how do we interact these channels? The way that we communicate is we bring you the products that professionals use. We give you the information, but then there's a level of work it's never, sometimes the job cannot be done just by you.
Mm-hmm.
And you need a professional to complete the job, right? This is why this is an actual profession. There's a lot of knowledge. So we try to bring our consumers always to say, hey, this is the level where we can get you. This is the best you can do. These are all the tools. We don't stop until you complete the job. And there is a point where you need to accept, hey, you need the professionals to come home. So
Yeah.
this is how we're trying to bridge both channels. Honestly, the company does a really good job on the managing channel conflict. In my role on marketing, I'm consistently communicating with the other sales teams, making sure that everybody's comfortable about the level of communication and promotional activity, pricing, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But there's always tension there. Now it's one of the lowest. It's a company that I've experienced so far that everybody's open on growing. Everybody's focused on growth,
Growth
and
mindsets.
therefore
Yeah.
willingness to say, hey, it's okay because you are helping us grow as a whole.
Yes. So obviously you have the B2B domain and the B2B website and B2B marketing and operation. Then you have the direct to consumers. You also have Amazon. Probably these channels will grow and you will open more and more of these channels. And this create complexities, right? Definitely in the operational side and obviously on the marketing side. What are the challenges that you see right now in managing and optimizing all these multi-channel activities?
I think we have had like definitely managing SKU proliferation and
Hmm.
configurations. So my goal is to keep it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
There has been cases where we wanted to create, like companies want to create a lot of configurations just to manage channel conflict.
Hmm.
But the reality is that even when I was in Hershey, like a lot of companies are trying to create these configurations thinking that they are going to bypass the competitiveness in e-commerce channels, but the e-commerce channels are getting so sophisticated, okay, that you cannot bypass them only through configuration, and a lot of
Yes.
times you're bringing just extra complexity to your organization without having really truly uh, solving the problem. So you're thinking, okay, if we make a 10 pack and a 12 pack, then they are not gonna decrease prices, compete. But the sophistication that these channels have is getting to that point, as they understand that this is what people are doing. You just get to the best pricing. So now you create a complexity, not understanding that the companies will keep getting more sophisticated on their pricing strategies and competition, and you didn't get the benefit. So I'm trying to keep it as simple as possible within our own organization, and then saying when the problem arises, we will solve it, and we have different channels to solve it. But we are
Hmm.
not going to be proactive, creating complexity, just thinking that eventually could happen. I have examples. When I was in Hershey, there was like points where retailers were doing competition at the kisses level, right? So we have
Wow.
bags with certain grams and weights, and we were like, okay, this weight here, and suddenly we're realizing, hey, these are comparing now grams and doing comping and price reduction based on grams. So now you have all this complexity and none of the benefit.
Yeah. Yeah. So Elias, you mentioned Hershey's, and I think let's branch out here for a few minutes. I'm very interested in your personal story. I know you started your career in Mexico, so maybe let's spend some time for you to share. I mean, your journey. I think it's very interesting for the listeners.
So I'll keep it super short.
Hmm.
I study engineering in Mexico, and I when I started in the corporate world, I ended up in finance as my starting point. Now, classmates that I had in the same classroom were working for the same company than me, and some of them were working on sales, other ones were working on marketing, and
Hmm.
we studied exactly the same. Okay, so it looked like it was a little bit of luck where we all landed. Personally, I've always been very math focused and oriented. But as I was going through the finance world, I discovered that my I my desire has been always creating new business. I have had personal businesses since I was young. I actually quit my first job to start a pest control manufacturing
Wow.
company. We manufacture a rat bait that was poison and base, and it was a pretty incredible opportunity, and that got me into this particular job here, right. But eventually I discovered that finance wasn't like what I like or enjoy. I could do it really well, but it wasn't exciting for me. So I started branching out into the marketing and the sales world. I found an opportunity discipline that I really loved that was called revenue growth management, where you could just think about things holistically. You put the point of marketing, you market share, you put the point of sales, that is revenue, and then you put the point of finance, that is margin, and you
Mhm.
make the right decision for the business, right? So I was seeing a lot of teams were just trying to maximize their own goals, and I was always thinking, why are we not thinking? I understand this is your goal, and I understand the company is telling you that you should be doing this, but once you think about this decision, you understand that this is not the best overall, and we need to find a way to say, hey, I'm gonna even take a hit on my goal to get the best for the business. So when I
Right.
discovered this discipline, I loved it, and I started making a career there, and I did it for a subsidiary of Coca-Cola in Mexico. I did it for Danone. I did it for Hershey, and then in Hershey, always I was like, again, trying to bring new business opportunities, but it wasn't very traditional to have a finance person doing, or a
Hmm.
revenue growth
Yeah.
management person doing this type of job. So I got to do a partnership between Uber and Hershey. It was about bringing products, free product to consumers in different occasions, so Mother's Day, Valentine's Day, etc. But the reality is, my goal was always to put this product, like get a. Basically, I was like, okay, we can put a vending machine in Ubers in the long run, and
Hmm.
that this is just the inception of the idea,
Yep.
testing if there's consumer appetite, and that got me into the U.S. The executives in the U.S. So my what I've done, what I did, and find it attractive, and they brought me to the U.S. And then in the US, I was always looking for opportunities of, again, I was in finance, and I was like, hey, I want to create new business. I'm well equipped to create new business. A lot of people could do finance, but not driving business, and that's where my skills thrive. So I was
Mhm.
just looking for opportunities, and I found digital as a great way for driving new opportunities, new exciting ways of
Yeah.
driving business. And from there, I was like, okay, digital and marketing, and the combination of digital marketing is where I want to focus on. These two things are merging and separating consistently. So, have a digital team that does the inception, then they start training the marketing teams, then you unify and you say the marketing teams need to be digital native, they need to understand this. And then eventually, you start losing a little bit of the innovation of digital, and you start branching them out, and the cycle repeats. So
Yeah.
my goal is to always transform organizations from the marketing and digital perspective. Like marketing, doing a lot of marketing, but doing that digital transformation, using all the transformational tools, the digital world, to drive growth, right? And that can give a huge advantage to smaller organizations, companies in the $500 million that want to compete with big organizations. They need to be extremely focused on digital, because this is the great equalizer.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, looking at your career path, this whole thing, moving from the back end finance to the front end, let's call it marketing and business innovation and coming up with the business, is it something that you planned? Did you envision yourself on the digital side, or it's like opportunities that you saw along the way and try to utilize them and do more than what you are paid for?
I've always wanted to do business
Okay.
growth and companies. I have, my purpose in life is to find new pathways to growth,
Hmm.
and that's for personal growth, that's for my employees' growth, and for companies growth. So I'm thinking, what are is nobody thinking about that we need to do, and we need to do it fast and better than everybody else. This will give
Uh-huh.
us a competitive advantage and make us money, right? So because of my finance background, and even on a marketing perspective, I'm thinking bottom line. Bottom line, is this going to give us in the long run profitability? Yes or no? If no, there is a way to create branding, but also making money. So that's part. But it was very challenging. It was very, very challenging. I'm very thankful that I'm where I am, because in big corporations you get, you when people work in large organizations, and you meet new employees, and you meet a new employee that works in finance, you are finance person. You meet
Hmm.
that person, salesperson. So you
Yes.
start putting
Putting them,
labels
yeah,
into
yeah,
people,
yeah,
okay? And the problem that I have is, like, I'm labelless, okay? I'm business growth no matter what. I want to grow a business. I want to deliver results, and this is problematic, because it starts bringing, it starts creeping into some other job, and that can create
yeah.
conflict or friction. But for example, in Hershey, the last thing that I was trying to do, I was like, how do I show a company that is so large, that people are so busy in their jobs, that I'm not a finance guy, I'm a business role. And I found out that there was a contest of how to crack a checkout in that time, right? It was like a contest of how to crack the business on checkout, how to
Okay.
figure it out to drive checkout growth.
Mm-hmm.
But they were just inviting marketing and salespeople. Okay, so
Uh-huh.
that was, so I was like, I need to get into this contest.
Okay.
I need to win it. Okay, to show them that I'm not a finance guy. Okay, I
Wow.
need to do this. So my boss was very traditional at that point. Like it was like he was like, you're a finance guy, you cannot do anything else. By the way, he did amazing for me because he is the one that brought me to the US, but he was putting me on this bucket, so I had to, this was my boss's boss, and I needed to negotiate with my boss and say, hey, please let me go to this contest. Okay, I need you to cover for me, because if the boss's boss find out, he's not gonna let me go, he's not gonna let me participate. So I need you to cover for me, so I can come back in the breaks, to make sure that people think, they don't because they are not going to understand what I'm trying to achieve. This is completely atypical. Let me come back on the breaks, make sure that the work is happening. Just give me a chance to win this contest, and then showcase what I have. And I obviously there's a lot of luck involved. And then I feel very grateful and fortunate where I am. But I won the contest.
Wow.
I had a team. I was working with sales, marketing team, and I was obsessed. I was like, I need to win this thing. It's my only way to get out of here, or I'm gonna have to find another
Mm-hmm.
company, another job. And that got me into that was an extra credential that I can come and showcase. So when I was introducing myself to different executives in other teams, and I was saying, hey, I'm a growth person, I'm a business growth, business development, etc. I could say, hey, here's an example, right? I competed with all the marketing people, all the sales people in the organization, and I was able to have the winning idea, right? So that was part of the things that I've had to do to get to be able to pivot to the point that I'm being taken seriously on the marketing and digital channels,
Yeah.
or discipline, right? It wasn't an easy thing, but I love it. I love my job. I love what we're doing,
Yeah.
and I love the growth.
That's an amazing story. So what are your conclusions from that story, or what's some of the lesson that you can share with our audience for someone who is growing in the industry and looking for tips?
For me, is do not let the people, like the label that people give you, be what defines you. And
Nice.
it has been on my career, I've been labeled many things,
Mm-hmm.
and I just work with myself to say, hey, this is not what you know what you are. You know the value that you have for business, for driving growth, and you need to stick with it, and you cannot let anybody dictate who you are. So I think that has been a key thing, and always move forward. So for me, is I'm always taking a step forward no matter what. And I think these two things, and to be honest, as I was saying, I'm grateful also, because I think that there's a lot of people that have the same level of skill sets, the same level of drive, and they are in roles that are not at the level, or with the level of responsibility that I have right now. So I always try to approach it with that, being grateful. Also, because ego, when you continue your career, you can just get too full of yourself and say, hey, I'm here just because what I've done, etc.
Mm-hmm.
But that takes a little bit of, that changes your behavior, and I don't think it's a positive way to explore things. So that will be my recommendation.
Nice. And I know you're also big in video games. So how this fits into the whole Elias picture?
So I'm a nerd, and I think that is also something that it's a difference, a differential. I've seen we all experience like the marketing and the digital channels based on our personality, and there's many executives that are a little bit different. They have a different background. They might have been coming from sports, etc. But in my case, I'm a nerd. I grew up with technology. I grew up playing video games, especially strategy video games.
Hmm.
And I was always obsessed with strategy, maximizing resources, optimizing resources. So I think that I grew up in an era that video games were still very, very challenging and require a lot of thinking, different to what we have right now. That is, basically they are designed to keep you just progressing, so you
Hmm.
don't have to be thinking enough. Once you think enough and you get stuck, it tells you where to go, etc. But I think that that component has made me love my job because I'm looking at things and I'm look in my mind. I'm playing a video game, like I'm looking metrics, I'm optimizing resources, and I'm basically taking everything that I love from when I was growing up into the world, and of course bringing the people's component right into this. That for me is like I've realized that the some of the thing, like at the end we will all you know retire, and some of the things will, like a lot of the things we do will not be remembered. So part of my goal is to help the individuals that are around me, employees, help them as much as I can in terms of quality of life, salary, etc. But in terms of improvement of metrics, it translates. Like if you are a nerd and you play a lot of StarCraft, I think it in the digital world and e-commerce, it's a beautiful transition.
Okay, so that's a secret sauce that maybe people needs to be aware of more. Probably it helps also with UI UX, right? Customer journeys, learning what's working and what's not. So really
I
great
think
tip.
I would suggest, I would recommend if you are in the digital world, play a lot of StarCraft.
Yes.
I
Okay,
think.
that's a good title for the episode.
uh,
Yeah. Elias, I want to go back to Catchmaster and talk to you about retention versus acquisition. Right. I would love to hear what are your thoughts on retention and consumer engagement around retention. How much effort do you put on retention, or is it more on acquisition side?
hmm.
What are your thoughts on this?
So retention is imperative for me, and I tell
Mm-hmm.
you, whenever I see a bad review, whenever I see a bad comment, I get so frustrated,
Yeah.
and I put myself on their shoes. So because right now, at the level of size of the company, I'm looking at every single comment and every single review consumers are giving us. Okay, so because I don't have all this big data, I'm like I need to understand it perfectly. And a lot of the complaints, by the way, most of the things are positive, right? We have the top product in the pest control category.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's over 70,000 reviews, like something
Wow.
crazy,
Wow.
and mostly positive. But whenever I get something negative and I read it, and I'm like, the consumer is right, I get really, really, really frustrated because I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, we need to get it right for this specific person. Okay, I'm not thinking about like the numbers of 2% of our consumers are complaining, etc. No, no, this person, we need to make it right, right? The customer
Uh-huh.
service, you need to send a product to this person. They are completely right. And we need to have this consumer for the rest of their life. It's in our particular case, the lifetime value of a consumer is huge. A consumer that loves, like, uses our product and is satisfied with it will use it for the rest of their life, right? They will
Yes.
remember our brand. They will go for the product that works. So it's so critical for us to consumer retention. And this has been, I've always been consumer focused, but in the size of organization that I have, it's like I feel like one-to-one relationship. So that is the priority that I have now. In terms of acquisition, we're doing a lot of different strategies. We are launching, especially right now, we are going to launch our social media channels. They are going to be very fun. That is going to be a critical component here.
Mm-hmm.
They are going to be very interesting. I'll be sharing with you in the future our Instagram and our Facebook. but it's going to be the right mix of keeping consumers loving our products and loving to follow our account to see fun stuff, and
Nice.
also sparking, putting a little bit of knowledge, right? So how do you keep people engaged so they can learn about the usage of our products, etc. So that is a key component that we're working on, and we spend a lot of money on digital advertising and that for consumer acquisition. But to be honest, lifetime value for consumers and having happy customers and consumers is like the priority for our company. As I told you, for the professional side, one of our key uniques is one-to-one relationship.
Yes.
And then on our consumer side, we have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of consumers. I want to keep that same unique of having a one-to-one relationship with them.
Yes. Yes. Nice. I like the one-to-one relationship approach. This is like beyond segmentation, beyond data. This is like one-to-one real life understanding customer behavior and try to respond on an individual level, right? Obviously, this is something that you can do on your size, and I guess there will be probably other ideas how to do that when you grow, right? Because it's not going to be manually feasible to do that.
No, it is not. But I
Yeah.
think I would suggest, like, even when you're a really large company, like what starts happening is you start aggregating consumers, and you start developing these personas that might not be perfect, and
Hmm.
you start, like, basically you start separating from your consumer, and you see a lot of brands right now that are doing a lot of marketing that is like separated for their consumers, and now they're
Hmm.
struggling, right? Brands are having massive PR issues because they separated so much from the consumer. An executive arrived, aggregated all the information, said, I found the solution. They go ahead and they blow up the brand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So you need to find a way. You need to find a way. It doesn't matter if you have hundreds of thousands or millions of consumers. You need to find a way to always bring back, at least look at the worst of the worst, right? The worst of the worst, the people that are complaining the worst, and reading it at the one level. I want to
Hmm.
see this every day. I want to read 5 of the worst reviews, right?
Wow. Yeah.
To understand that is something that I think when you are in a large company, that should be your priority in terms of how do you keep that one personalized relationship so you are really in touch with the consumer and not just an aggregate that you created on your own mind and
Hmm.
with data, and you have a persona, and then you risk getting out of touch with your consumers. And I think that is a big issue with large brands. It's like I agree with you, Ethan, that it will be a challenge once we start being like it gets out of control. That will be a challenge, and aggregating information is easy. Finding, creating your own consumer personas, I think it's easy. Everybody's doing it. You talk to any agency, any strategic marketing agency, and they will go and present personas and all of these and that. I think a lot of brands are getting out of touch. That is the hard part at this point where we have so much data.
Yes. 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 So, Elias, this is the part of the episode where, I ask guests to share a fun fact. So, I'd love to hear something about you that most of your professional network are not aware of.
So I love reading, and I make challenges for myself. So part of, I told you about going and winning the contest to try
Yep.
to show. The other thing I did is I read one book per week about digital and e-commerce and summarize it. And I went and I was presenting every week a summary to my potential bosses of
Wow.
a book to showcase the appetite that I had to grow. So
Wow.
that has been the year that I've read more books, 52 weeks, 52 books that year, and it's just trying to do something different that nobody else is doing. Um, I guess that's an interesting fact.
Amazing, Elias. That's like a different level of commitment. So, really amazing. Uh,
I needed to do something. I needed
yeah.
to do
Yeah.
something or get stuck.
Yes. 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 Elias, anything else you want to add?
No, I really appreciate the conversation. I would say, and I also appreciate the plug on Catchmaster.
Yeah.
It's an amazing company, family owned, and the products are incredible. And honestly, I've never been so, so excited about working with a brand and people in the organization. So I'm just super excited about this experience, and I appreciate I was
Yeah.
able to share a little bit about our products and our company.
Great, great. It's great to see also you are smiling most of the interview. So it really shows a lot, a lot. Elias, how people can find you?
So my LinkedIn is Elias Castaneda,
Hmm.
and I think that that's the best
Yes.
way to connect with me and just keep in touch. I'm trying to uh, touch like grow the network with marketing and digital professionals, and just I try to have one-on-one conversations with different people, learn from everybody. So just add me to LinkedIn.
Amazing. And we will add your LinkedIn to the show notes. I really appreciate the time. Thank you so much, Elias.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you, everyone.